how to create layouts, right? How to create layout, we have discussed two properties. One is display property, whose value should be flex. Apart from that, we have discussed something like flex direction property. And when it comes to flex direction property, we have just discussed two values, that is row and column. Okay, this is what we have discussed in the last session, and we were able to create some kind of layouts, right? We have seen how to create the layouts. This is what we have discussed in the last session. Okay, now if you remember, if I want to create the layout using flex, the first step is we have to create one flex container, right? We have to create flex container. Now, after creating the flex container, inside that container, we can create any number of columns. Like this, we can create any number of columns. Or else, if you want, then you can create any number of rows also. Like you can create one flex container, and inside that, we can create any number of rows. Like this, we were able to create the rows. Okay, to the columns, we were assigning some width value. To all the columns, we were assigning some width value. And to our rows, we were assigning some height value. And using this technique, we were able to create the layouts. Okay, this is what we have discussed in the last session. Now, if you remember, to create a container, to create a flex container, we were taking one div, right? We were taking like this one div element. And to this div element, we were assigning the property called display flex. We were assigning the property called display. We were assigning the property display, and to this display property, we were assigning the value as a flex. So once we assign this property, then only we can say this div as a flex container. Then only we can say this div as a flex container. Now, inside this flex container, if you want to create columns or rows, for that, we were taking some more set of divs. Like for one column, we were taking one div. In the same way, if you want to create row, for that also, we were taking the divs. So depending upon our requirement, that many divs we were taking. Right? So technically, inside your flex container, whatever elements you will take, inside your flex container, whatever elements you will take, those elements are called flex items. It means this is one flex item, this is one flex item. Technically, inside your flex container, whatever elements you are taking, like direct elements, those direct elements are called flex items. Okay, those are called flex items. Now, suppose if I take here one document, flex concept.html. If I create here my basic document, let's suppose inside this body, I am taking one div. Okay, to this div, let's suppose I am assigning some class called container. Inside this container, let's suppose I am taking three divs. Div 1, or I will say something like box 1, box 2, box 3. Now to style this div, to style this container, I am just using some CSS. So here I am just going with the internal approach. I have taken style tag. Inside that style tag, I want to select this element like container. I am selecting that container using this ID approach. Assigning some width, something like 1000 pixel, and some height, something like 400 pixel, and border 2 pixel, solid, something like black. Okay, or else I will take it as a 3 pixel. Now what I have done, I have taken one div. Inside that div, I have taken 3 subdivs. Inside my main div, I have taken 3 subdivs. Okay. Now, if I load this document, if I load this particular document in my browser, it looks something like this. Okay. Now, if I go back here, 3 pixels, solid, black. Okay, container, right? Yeah. Now, anybody can identify why my styles are not applied? Why my styles are not applied? Yes. So here I have taken class, but I am selecting my element as an ID, right? So if you want to select your element using class approach, then instead of hash, you have to add dot. You have to add dot. Now, if you save it, you will get that styles now. Now you got this style. Now, can I say this as a flex container? Can I call this container as a flex container? Can I call that container as a flex container? No, right? Yes. Now I cannot call this as a flex container. When I call this as a flex container, if I add display property, display flex. Okay. Now what I will do for all this div, I want to add some styles. So I will just assign one class, something like box. Here also one more class, something like box. One more class, something like box. Okay, I will select all these divs using box. I will give some width, maybe something like 100 pixel, height 100 pixel, and border 2 pixel, solid, something like red. Okay, if I go back to my browser, it looks something like this. Box 1, box 2, box 3. Now, inside your flex container, this is our flex container. Inside this flex container, we have 3 divs, right? Now, these 3 divs are called flex items. If we are saying this div as a flex container, inside flex container, whatever direct elements we have. So this is the direct child of container. This is another direct child of container. This is one more direct child of container. So all these 3 divs, technically they are called flex items. What they are called? They are called flex items. When we can call this as a flex items? Only if their parent is a flex container. If I remove this display flex, if I remove this property, then this container is not my flex container. If it is not a flex container, we cannot call all this element as a flex items. We cannot call all this element as a flex items. When we can call all these items as a flex items, only if we make their parent, as a flex container, then only we can call them as a flex items. So here, if I add display flex, now I can say all these are the flex items. If I want, I can add some background color here. Something like red I am adding. I got here box 1, box 2, box 3. Maybe here border, I will add something like green. Box 1, box 2, box 3. Now this is our flex container, and all these 3 boxes are called flex items. So understood the concept of flex item? Okay. So when we are going to call as a flex item, suppose inside this box 1, suppose I am taking div maybe h2 element, something like this box 1. Inside the first box, I have taken h2. In that h2, I have added some content like box 1. So if I go back here, I got something like this box 1. Now, this h2 is not called flex item. This h2 is not called flex item. Only this div is called flex item. Remember, this h2 is not called flex item. Why h2 is not called flex item? Because h2 is like an indirect child. It is like an indirect child of container. Okay. H2 is an indirect child, or we can say like a grandchild. It's a grandchild of container. So which elements are called flex items? The elements which are direct child of flex container. Elements which are direct child of flex container. Only those elements are called flex items. So here this div is a flex item. This div is a flex item. This div is a flex item. But H2, this H2 is not a flex item. This H2 is not a flex item. Got it? Only the direct child of flex container are called flex items. So here the point what we have to remember is only direct childs of flex container are called flex items. I hope it's very clear, right? Which element is called flex item, which element is not called flex item. Okay. Now all these flex items, now all these flex items we can position in 9 places. All this flex item inside the flex container we can position in 9 places. 9 places means this is the top left. We can place in the top center, top right. Here left, center, right. Bottom left, bottom center, bottom right. These are the 9 places where we can place our flex items. Okay, inside the flex container, let's suppose this is our flex container. Inside this flex container, let's suppose this is my flex item. So by default, flex item will start on the top left. If you want, you can place this flex item exactly in the top center. If you want, you can place this particular flex item on the top right. In the same way, you can place in the center left, center center, and center right. In the same way, bottom left, bottom center, bottom right. So like this, in these 9 places, we can place our flex items inside the flex container. Inside the flex container. So to place our flex item on the top, or if I can say, if you want to place flex item in this horizontal direction, if you want to move in the horizontal direction like this, horizontal direction, then we will use a property called justify content. If you say justify content flex start, your element or flex item will be on the left top. If you say justify content center, your value, this flex item will be in the top center. If you say justify content flex end, if you say justify content flex end, your flex item will be on the top right. It will be on the top right. Okay. So let's see this property justify content with these 3 values. Now this is our flex item. Okay, all these are flex items. Box 1, box 2, box 3. Now if you see by default, all those are placed on the left side. Now I want to place exactly here in the center. I want to move in the horizontal direction. So if you want to move in the horizontal direction, we will use something called justify content property. And the value of this we will assign like a center. If you say center, if you come back here, now see your element is in the center. If you say flex end, justify content flex end, all your flex items will be on the right side, nothing but top right. If you say flex start, it will be on the it will be on the top left. So if you don't assign this value, if you don't assign this property, then by default, it will be always on the left side. This will be on the left side. So using justified content, we can move our elements in the horizontal direction. Horizontal direction. If flex item direction is row. If flex item direction is row. So by default, all your flex item directions are row. If you don't assign, by default, they will display in the row. Or else you can explicitly add this value. If your flex direction value is row, then this justified content will move your elements in the horizontal direction. That too in the three places: left, center, and right. Top left, top center, top right. So here I can say something like center. If I say center, it will be exactly in the center. If I say flex end, it will be on the end. If I say flex start, then it will be on the left. Flex start. Understood how to move your flex items in the horizontal direction or in the x-axis direction in the three places: left, center, and right. Is it clear, guys? Now, if you want to move your elements in the vertical direction. So here top, center, bottom. If you want to move in this vertical direction, top, center, bottom, then we will use one more property called align items. And the values are same. Flex start means it will be on the top. Center means it will be in the center now. Now see, it is in the center. If you say flex end, it will be on the bottom. It will be on the bottom. So we have one more property, that is align items. The values of align items are flex start. Flex start means it will be on the top. Align items, value is center. Center means it will be in the center. Align items. If you say flex end, then it will be in the bottom. It will be in the bottom. Okay, is it clear? So I will provide the PDF. I will provide all the definitions of all this. Don't worry about that. Here, just understand the concept. So justified content will move your element, your flex items in the horizontal direction. It will move in the horizontal direction. Align items will move your flex items in vertical direction. And we can move only in the three places: left, center, right. Top, center, right. Now using these two properties, by combining these two properties, now we can place our flex items in all the 9 directions. What are those 9 directions? What are those 9 directions? Suppose this is my flex container. So using justified content and align item, by combining these two properties, we can place our flex items in the 9 places. What are those 9 places? This is your top left. This is your center left. 2 left. 3 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 So, 1 second. 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 1 second This is your bottom left. This is your top center. Okay. This is center center. This is bottom center. Top right. Okay, top center. And here we can say bottom right. This is not top center. Here I have to say center right. This is center right. These are the 9 places where we can place our flex items. We can place our flex items. Top left, top center, top right, center left, center center, center right, bottom left, bottom center, bottom right. How can we place our flex items in all these 9 places? By combining these 2 properties. By combining these 2 properties. Okay. Let's suppose I want to place my element. I want to place my element exactly in the center center. I want to place my flex items exactly in the center center. Nothing but I want to place here exactly in the center. It means, first of all, we have to, from top, we have to come to the center, and then from in the vertical direction also we have to come to the center. So how to move our element in the center in the horizontal direction? For that, simply we have to say justify content value as a center. And align items. If you want to move in vertical direction, if you want in the center, here also the value should be center. If you say center center, your element flex items will be exactly in the center of your container. Now, if you want these items here on the bottom right, can you guys tell me what should be the values of my justify content and align items? If I want in the bottom right, I want in the bottom right. What I need to do if I want in the bottom right? I want here in the bottom right. What should be the value of my justify content? So justify content should be flex send. And align item should be flex send. Now see, it is on the bottom. It is on the bottom right. Okay, both values we have to give flex send. Now suppose I want here. I want here in the center left. Okay, I want in the center left. Now you decide. Okay, suppose you have taken like this flex container. By default, your elements will be on the top left. Now where you want to come? You want to come here, right? If you want to come here, means justify content should be flex start and align item should be center. Then it will come here. Suppose you want here. Now your element is here, but I want my element to be here, center right. If you want to move to the center right, what you can do? This element you can move to the corner like this. Then you can go like this. This is the one way. Or else you can go like this. Then from here you can go like this. Now you know this element how to bring here. Now once this element is here, you know how to bring that element exactly in the center. So tell me what should be my values? What should be my justify content and align items? justify content. What should be the value? And align items. What should be the value? For justify content, it should be flex end, so that it will be on the right side. And for align items, it should be center. Okay, let's try. So here, I will say flex end and here center. If I save it, if I go back to my browser, now see, I got it. Center right. Understood? Understood these two properties and their three values? Is it clear for everyone? Is there anybody who got confused or who did not understand? Okay, I think everybody understood. So for justify content, as of now, we know three values. Okay, so for justify content, as of now, we know three values. What are those three values? Flex start, center, flex end. Apart from these three values, we can have three more values for this justified content. There are three more values for justified content. And those three values are space between, space evenly, and space around. There are three more values which we can configure for this justified content property. Okay, these three properties are only for justified content. These three values for this property are only for justified content. What is the use of these three values? If you say space between, if you say justified content and space between, if you say justified content and space between, now it will generate space between your flex items. This value will generate space between the flex items. Now see here. Now this is the flex item 1, flex item 2, flex item 3. Between them, space got generated. Equal space is generated between them. So if you want to generate equal space between your flex items, if you want to generate some space between the flex items, then you can assign this value. Space between. Okay. Now if I save it, now all are here. Again, if I take that justify content property, if I say space around, now around our flex item, space will be generated. It means from the left and from the right of our flex item, some space will be generated. Now see, from the left and from the right, space is generated. Some space is generated. This is space around. If you see, the space from the left is less, space from the right is more. Space from the left for this is same, for this is same. For this, from left it is more, from right it is less. So the space between these flex items are uneven. The space between these flex items are uneven. They are not even. For this flex item, left side space is less, right side space is more. For this flex item, left side space is same as right side. For this flex item, right side space is less, left side space is more. Okay, so this is like space around. If you want to generate even space from left also, from right also, if you want to generate same space for all the flex items, then we can assign one more value, that is space evenly. Something called space evenly. Now see, equal space is generated from left, right, from left, right, from left, right. For all the flex item, even space is generated from left, right. If you go for space around, then odd space is generated. For some flex items, left side is more, right side is less. For some flex item, right side is more, left side is less. For some flex items, there is the same space from left and right. It means we have an odd space. But if you say space evenly, it will generate even space for all the flex items. Okay, so these values, these three values, we can assign only to the justified content. These three values we can assign only to the justified content. For the align items, for align items property, how many values we have? For align items property, we have only three values. Flex start, center, and flex end. Okay, so these are the two more properties that we know for the flex concept as of now. So for flex concept, in the flex concept as of now, we know totally how many properties? 4 properties: display, flex direction, then we have something called justified content, and we have align items. These are the 4 properties that we can assign for flex concept. So all these 4 properties are clear for everyone. All these 4 properties are clear for everyone. Okay. Now I want to create like this navbar, guys. I want to create this navbar. So to create this navbar, can we use flex concept? Using flex concept, can you create this navbar? Are you guys able to apply flex concept here to create this navbar? Only this part. To create this part, can you guys apply flex concept? Do you think, can you apply flex concept? I want this design. So can we apply flex concept? Okay. So to design like this, what we will do, we will take one container. We will take one container. Like this container we will take. Now you know, right, how to take like this container? Do you know how to create like this structure, like this container structure? I want like this container structure. So can you guys tell me how can we create? Yes, just we have to take one div element. Okay, here I will give some ID as a header. And to this div element, I will assign width. No need to assign width also, because anyways width will be 100%. Height, we have to just assign some height and border. That's it. So we can select this header. Anyways, width will be 100%. If you want, you can assign it. For height, I'm just taking one random value, something like 70 pixel. And border, or instead of adding border, I will add background color. Background color as a black. Okay, here simply I will add some content like header. And the color of my content should be white. Okay, what I have done, simply I have taken one header, nothing but one div. To that div, simply I have applied these properties. Now, if I load this document in my browser, it looks something like this. Now, here we are getting some extra space, right? How to remove this extra space? How to remove this extra space on the top, on the left, on the right? Yes, we have to apply margin 0. So we have to select our body element and we have to say margin 0. Got it? So we are able to design like this black color container. Now in this black color container, I want my portfolio, this content. I want portfolio here. I want some links here, some 4 links here. Now, how to generate like this space? How to generate like this space? How to generate like this? Okay. So for this, what I will do, just see what I will do here. I will create here 2 divs. I will take 2 divs. This is my div 1. Up to here, I will take one div 1 like this. And from here, I will take div 2. It means inside my container, I will take 2 divs. I will take 2 divs. So like this, I want div 1. And then I want div 2. I want something like div 2 like this. So the width of this div, I want to assign. Width of this div, I want to assign like 40%. And for this div, I want to assign width like 60%. So 60 plus 40, it's like 100%. It should occupy this complete container. So what I will do, inside this header, I will take 2 divs. So for this div, I will give ID as a title. I will take one more div. For this, I will give the ID something like nav. Okay, nav items. Something I have given. So this is title. This is nav items. Now this both the divs I will select. I will add one background color. Here I will say something like green. Hash nav items. Here I will add background color. Something like brown. So what I have done, inside my header, I have taken 2 divs. Div 1, div 2. In both the divs, I have added background color. So let's see how it looks. Now see, title and nav bar, this nav items. It is taking 100% width, but they are coming one after another. I don't want one after another. I want one beside another. Now, how to bring our these two containers or these two divs one beside another? How to bring these two divs one beside one beside another? Yeah. Can we do one thing? Can we make this container? Can we make this header as a display flex? If I say display flex, then these two divs will be like flex items, and by default they will display in row direction. Row direction means one beside another. If I go back here, now see they displayed one beside another. If I want, I can increase the width. I can increase the width for both the flex items. So for this title, I will say width like 40%. It will be like 40%. And for this, I will say width as 60%. Now we got it. We got one beside other, right? Now what we want in the first container, we want like this content, my portfolio. Okay, to show the content in this structure, I am taking H2 element. So inside my title here, inside my title div, I am taking one H2. And here I am saying like my portfolio. If I save it and if I go back, it looks like this. If you remember, for all your heading elements, by default, your browser will add some margin, right? For all your heading elements, by default, your browser will add some margin. So I just want to remove that margin. I want to remove the margin for H2. So what we can do, we can select here H2 and we can simply say margin 0. If I say margin 0, now see my H2 will display on the top because that extra space got removed. If I don't add this property, then my H2 is coming in the center. Okay. So what I want to remove this margin. So I'm just adding this margin property now here. Okay, now our content is exactly on the top. Now I don't want this content on the top. I want this content exactly here in the center. I want this content exactly in the center here. So can you guys tell me how we can bring this content exactly in the center? I want here in the center here. If you say text align means it will come on the top center. I don't want in the top center. I want in the center of this div. So which two properties I need to use? Yeah. So those two properties, justified content and align items, where I need to use? Where I need to use that two properties? Tell me the line number. Tell me the line number where I need to add that two properties, justified content and align items. Okay, here we cannot add. Here we cannot add. Why we cannot add? See, the structure is like this now. You have a header container. This is your header container. Inside your header container, you have title container. You have a title container. Okay, this is your title container. Inside this title, we have H2. We have H2. Now this H2 element, we want here. This H2 element is there, right? Whatever we are displaying in H2 element, that content. So let's suppose here we have H2 element. This H2 element, we want in the center here. It means this H2 element should be flex item. Then only we can bring here in the center. This H2 element should be flex item. So when this H2 element can be flex item? When this H2 element can be flex item? If you see the code here, this is the H2. This H2 we want here in the center. So if you want that H2 in the center, then this H2 should be flex item. Now when this H2 can be flex item? Yeah, for this H2, who is the parent? For this H2, who is the parent? Title. This title is a parent, right? So title should be flex. Then only we can call H2 as a flex item, right? If you want to call this H2 as a flex item, then title should be flex. Now, did we made our title flex? Did we made our title flex? No. So first we have to make our title as a flex. Now we can add justify content center. Now we can add align item center. Now I hope you understood why this justify content and align items are added to title but not to the container. Now we got in the center. Now if I add this justify content and align items here, if I add here, do you think that content will come in the center? If I add this justify content and align items to the header, do you think that content will come in the center? Now see that content is not in the center, and our design got disturbed. Our design got little disturbed. Okay, so if you want that exactly in the center, these two properties we have to add here. So you have to be very careful while designing the things. You have to be very clear, crystal, like which element you want in the center. I want this portfolio. I want this portfolio in the center. Now for this portfolio we displayed using H2. So if you want to bring that H2 exactly in the center, then H2 should be flex item. Now if H2 should be the flex item, now you have to think when we can make H2 as a flex item. When can we make H2 as a flex item? If the parent of H2 is a flex container. So for H2, who is the parent? For H2, title is a parent. For title, header is a parent. Okay. So for your H2, title is a parent. For title, header is a parent. So if you want to make this as a flex item, then title should be flex container. Then only you can consider this as a flex item. And if it is a flex item, then only you can move this element in the 9 different directions. But we want exactly here, right? So that is the reason. First we made our title display flex. Then we have added justify content and align item. Okay. Now understood? So now inside the flex container, we have one more flex container. So this is our header. Inside that we have title. Header also flex container and your title is also a flex container. Now this concept is called nested flex. This is called nested flex. Because header, this header is also flex. Inside that title is also flex. So they are called nested flex. Now in the same way, here I want to display 4 links. So I will go to that nav item. This is my nav item. Here I will take 4 links. Okay, in first link I want home. Then I want here something like maybe profile. Here resume. And here something like product. Okay, here I have added 4 links now in the nav item. Now if I save it, if I go back here, now see 4 links I got. Now I want to change style. First of all, I want to show all these links in the white color. So what I will do, I will select that anchor tag. I will say colors to be white. If I say color white, all will be white. Now tell me how to remove this underline. How to remove this underline? I want to remove this underline. How to remove underline? Yes, we have to use text decoration. The value should be none. If you say text decoration none, that got removed. Can we generate space between all the anchor tag from the right side? For this anchor tag, can we generate some space from the right side? For this profile also, can we generate space from right side? How to generate this space? Only from right side. We have to use margin right. Okay, instead of padding, you can go with margin right. I'm saying 50 pixel. Now space got generated. Now all these anchor tags, I want exactly in the center here. I want in the center. Or maybe here I want. From top here I want. Okay, this is our container. This is nav item container. All my anchor tags are displayed here. Anchor tag 1, anchor tag 2, anchor tag 3, like this. Anchor tag 4. Now what I want, all these anchor tags to be displayed in the center here. I want to display exactly here in the center. So how to bring exactly in the center? It means all these anchor tags, should be, yes. So can I try that? Can I make this as a display flex? And can I add these 2 properties? Now I got in the center. Okay. Now can I remove this background colors? Can I remove this background colors? So here I have added this background color property. I am removing this. I am removing this as well. Now we got navbar. Okay. Here I will add contact us. Home, profile, resume, contact us. Now I want to show this like this goldish color. If you say little goldish color we have, right? Goldish color. If you want to show in the goldish color, then there is a color called corn silk. So for all this anchor tag, instead of adding the color as a white, we can assign a value called corn silk. Okay, it will just give slight goldish color. Goldish color, corn silk. Now understood how we are using flex concept to create a navbar. One simple navbar. Okay, in your real time, you will use the flex concept very frequently, very frequently you will be using. A lot of time you will be using flex grid. There is one more concept called grid. If you go for any interview, 100% they will ask you the question on this grid concept and flex concept. Grid flex. Okay, and these are the 3 to 4 properties. These are the 4 properties. 90% we will use these 4 properties only. Display, flex direction, justify content, align items. These 4 properties only we will use 95% in our real time. Okay. Now, if I want to design this part, this section, tell me, can we use flex concept here also? Can we use flex concept here also to design something like this? Okay, how can we use flex concept? Means here also same concept we will apply. We will consider this entire thing as one container. Okay, then inside that we will create 2 columns. Column 1, column 2. For column 1, we will give the width as 30% or 40%. For column 2, we will give again the width as 60 or 70%. Okay, so same thing. So what I will do here, after this header section, I will create here one more div, something like main section. ID, main section 1. Inside that, I want 2 columns. So I am taking 2 divs. Div 1, div 2. For this div, I will give the ID as image div. For this div, I will give the ID as content div. Okay, same thing. Main container, inside that, I have taken 2 divs. This is one div. This is one div. And one more div, this one. Now you know, right, how to bring the 2 divs one beside other and how to increase the width of both the divs. Already we know that. So we will select this main section. Simply we will say display flex. Display flex. And we will assign some height. Maybe something like I'm just adding here as of now 400 pixel. After that, or else we don't require height as of now. I will just remove that. Display flex. Then I will select this image div. For this image div, I will add width, maybe something like 30%. And for this content div, I will add width as a 70%. Okay. In image div, I just want one image. So I will take image src equals to something. Width I will assign 300 pixel. Height I will assign 300 pixel. And in this content div, I will take all this content. So here I will take h3 or maybe h4, something like high. Something like high there. Then h1, something like I am Sneha. Now see here we got like this. Now we want this image. I will copy this image address. I will paste here. Now see we got here. Okay. And here we want something like this. This paragraph. Okay, I will just copy this content. After this paragraph, in the same way, I want one more paragraph. Let me select. All this content is selected. I will take one more paragraph. Now we got here. But we require a lot of space, right? We required some space here. From top, we required some space. So how to generate space from the top? How to generate space from the top? Yeah. So to this main section, one, can we add margin top? Something like 100 pixel. I got something like this. Maybe I will add little more, maybe 150 pixel. I got something like this. Okay. Now what I want to do, here I want to make this as a 40% and this content div as a 60%. Now I got like this. Now this image is in the square shape, right? Image is in the square shape. If you want this image in the circle shape, then what we need to do means we have to select that image and simply add a property called border radius. Add a property called border radius, and the value of this border radius should be 50%. If you assign the property border radius and if you assign the value 50%, your image will convert into circle shape. Now see, image is in the circle shape. Now this image I want exactly in the center here. So what I can do here, I can simply add text align center. Now see, I got my image exactly in the center. Exactly in the center. Maybe margin top looking more. Maybe I will decrease to 130. Yeah, maybe 120. Yeah, 120 is fine. Here I have to add some more content. So I will copy this content. Simply I will add here. So I will take something like H5. I will add that content. Or maybe H4 I will add. It looks something like this. Now see, we got that design. Okay, here let me just add I am Sneha Reddy. Now see how we are using flex concept to design this kind of user interface. Understood this part? Understood, right? How to design this part? There was nothing. Just we have to take one flex container. Inside that, we have to take two flex items. We have to assign some width, and that's it. Add one image, add content. Okay. So this image is like a text for this div. This image is like a text for this div. So if you use text align, whatever content, whatever elements you have as a child, all will come in the center of that div. So they are just displayed in the center of the div. Okay. Now I want you guys to design this part. So can you take the assignment? Can you design this part and this part? Forget about these logos. Forget about these logos. If you know how to add logos, you can add, or else just skip it. Just skip this logos part. Can you guys design this two part as an assignment? So I want this section and I want this section. I have designed half. You guys try half. Next half part, you guys try. Okay. So I will just add this link so that you guys will have this link. Here I will add something like link.text. Here I will add that link. Okay. So you guys can just copy this link and just paste in your browser. You will be able to access this part, this page. And now this image you can access here. Just right click, copy the image address. Right click, copy the image address. Right click, copy the image address. So you will get exactly all these things. Okay, this part you guys try. And in next session, that is on Monday, we will try to design this Netflix. We will design this part. Okay, on Monday. Okay, if you want, you guys can give a try before I develop. If you want, you guys can give a try to implement that Netflix part. Okay, that Netflix link also I will add here. Okay, this is Netflix. This is portfolio. Yeah, that's all guys from my end. If you have any doubts, you guys can ask. If you don't have any doubts, yeah, you guys can drop and let's join on Monday. Yeah, you can use Rakesh. Margin property you can use. Yeah, I will update, guys. Today's and yesterday's notes I will update. Rakesh, text align is used to bring the content of the element in the center. Margin we can use to bring that element in the center. If you want to use margin property for image, then you have to use for image that margin property. If you are using text align property, then you have to use that for